Yama was just released into the game, and with it a new contract system. Similarly to Awakener's Orbs, these contracts can be turned into Yama for a more difficult boss fight, and if you manage to defeat the harder variant, you receive a guaranteed reward. There are 11 contracts in the game, each with a unique reward. Keep in mind, these items are a finite resource that are consumed upon use, so depending on demand, farming these could be a great source of GP. These contracts won't be usable until May 23rd, so there's no telling what their price will end up being once demand skyrockets upon release. Unfortunately, some of these contracts can only be dropped by Yama, but if you're anything like me, you're probably trash at the game and definitely not ready for that fight yet. Luckily, there's one method that we can use to farm some of these contracts to hopefully make some GP from the hype on the 23rd. While 6 of these contracts can only be dropped by Yama himself, 5 of them can be dropped from regular old demons in the Chasm of Fire. Before I tell you which rewards you get from them, let me show you how to start farming them so you can AFK while you finish this video. In order to start receiving these contracts, you must first sign an initial one with Yama himself. If you haven't yet, go to the Chasm of Fire. The easiest method of travel there is via fairy ring code DJR. Head to the opening, use the rope, and descend to the bottom floor. The way down will vary depending on your agility level. Once you're at the bottom, speak with the NPC called the Voice of Yama. Click through the dialogue and enter Yama's domain. Now speak to Yama, click through his dialogue, and sign the contract he speaks of. Now, contract drops are enabled and you can exit his domain. This is where the grind begins. Within the Chasm of Fire, there are 3 types of demons. All 3 of these monsters drop the 5 available contracts. I wish it was as simple as just killing them and receiving the drops, but there is a slight catch. In order to receive the contract drop from them, you must land the finishing blow on the demon in a specific manner, depending on what color sigil is shown above its head. Each sigil also corresponds to a specific type of contract. Take a look. If the demons you're fighting have a purple sigil above their head, you must kill them with any heavy ranged weapon. So something like a crossbow will work. If the demon has a green sigil above its head, you must kill it with a spell. Make sure you're not using a powered staff like a trident or a shadow. I just used a Kodai wand to autocast surge spells. If you see a red sigil, make sure you kill the demon with a special attack. Since specs are a finite resource, this one has better contract odds than the rest. My best piece of advice for this one is to bring home tellies, and when you run out of spec, telly home, use your rejuve pool, and fairy ring right back to the chasm. Next, if the demons have the blue sigil above them, make sure you're killing them with a 2-handed melee weapon. I was just using an AGS. Lastly, if you see the yellow sigil, make sure you're killing the demon while it's bound or from the damage dealt from hitting it with the binding spell. I just brought entangle runes for this one. Also, here's a graphic that shows which contract you will receive as a drop from each sigil color. It's important to note, in my 5+ hours here, I did not see a purple sigil once. I don't know if this was a coincidence, but the green sigil was by far the most common. Also, the sigil colors do not switch that often. You should not be bringing a gear switch and should instead just re-gear when the color eventually changes. I wasn't paying too close attention, but I would say each sigil color lasted for around 100 KC. The last important piece of information for receiving the drops is this. Traditionally, monsters with higher combat levels have a higher drop rate for items, so I decided to kill the strongest demons in the chasm, being the black demons. But since the drop rates aren't officially on the wiki yet, if all 3 demons in the chasm end up having the same drop rate, I wasted a bunch of time. So I encourage you to check the wiki to stay updated. But for now, if you can, I would say killing black demons is probably your best bet. After a few hours and a little under 500 KC, this happened. Let's go. We finally got it. 434 KC. Let's go. Now that you know exactly how to grind for these contracts, let me tell you what rewards the 5 contracts will give you. With the release of Yama came the addition of a new armor set called Oathplate. Similarly to the cosmetic variant of Torva, commonly referred to as Blood Torva, Oathplate has a cosmetic variant called Radiant Oathplate. In order to make the Radiant Oathplate, you need an item called a Purifying Sigil. The sigil is composed of 5 different pieces, and as you probably guessed, each of the 5 contracts that we get from these demons in the chasm reward you with 1 piece of the sigil upon beating the heightened Yama variant. Each contract corresponds to a different piece of the sigil, and once you have all 5, you can make the sigil and make the Radiant Oathplate. Alright, that's all the information I have for you today. Good luck getting your contracts.